Nick Ashew here with the DMV.
Has concluded.
The DMVSTREAM.COM play.
Sean Parker along with Nick Allison.
I always wanted to play volleyball in college.
Cordova trying to dig it out of the board. And they score!
Hello and welcome into another edition of the Prep Zone. I'm Jeremy Huber, joined by the Connection's John Roteman today, where we're going to get you up to date on everything going on in the DMV when it comes to high school sports. Of course, state championships winding down, taking a look at it all. Of course, today on the show, lots of baseball, lots of lacrosse as well, as we'll go ahead and recap the matchups on the diamond between West Potomac and Chantilly and Centerville and Madison. Also, we'll preview the girls and boys VHSL state lacrosse tournaments. Also on the show today, the guys from Rebel Run Sports. We'll sit down with Josh McGrigg, the Mount Vernon High School wideout and Villanova commit. Of course, he sits down with the guys. Also, Dominic Fragala of Champ, their high school point guard, talks about the upcoming season and the team's expectations for the Knights. Of course, plenty of places to find us as well on when it comes to the Prep Zone. There's different places all around, DMVSTREAM.COM one, also Channel 10, a good place to find us as well. So lots to talk about on the show. Before we get into all of it, let's take a look at DMVSTREAM.COM's new partnership with the Lacrosse Sports Network, a 24/7 network for the sport of lacrosse.
What's up, lacrosse fans? I'm excited to announce our new partnership with LacSportsNetwork.com, a 24-hour digital media network dedicated to covering the game of lacrosse, delivering thousands of hours of original programming, including live professional, collegiate, and amateur games. Now, those of you that already know about Synthesis Multimedia Productions and our platform at DMVStream.com, you know that our group has become the Mid-Atlantic's dominant force in providing live streaming of pro, college, and local high school sports. Now, in this new partnership with LacSportsNetwork.com, we'll be bringing you, the viewers, unprecedented live coverage of the Mid-Atlantic's most notable high school lacrosse programs, with matchups that include teams like Gonzaga, Georgetown Prep, Landon, Loyola Blakefield, McDonough, Boys Latin, Hill Academy, St. Paul School, Culver, New Canaan, St. Stephen's St. Agnes, Collegiate School, and the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference Championship live from the University of Maryland. Now, in this series of 10 games, starting in early March, you can watch the best matchups live in HD with the state-of-the-art broadcast technology you've come to expect from us at Synthesis Multimedia Productions and DMVStream.com. Broadcasts will include a minimum of 5 HD camera angles, graphics, instant replay, live clock, live scoring, up-to-the-minute stats, and a 15-person crew, including directors, producers, camera operators, play-by-play color, and sideline reporters, all dedicated to creating a television-style broadcast experience that you can watch live right in the palm of your hand. To find out more about this project, go to LacSportsNetwork.com and start watching lacrosse right now.
Welcome back into the Prep Zone. Let's go ahead and get right into it and our weekly recap, where we take a look at some matchups on the diamond from the VHSL baseball tournament. Let's go ahead, John. We start things off with a pitcher's duel, a matchup between Chantilly and West Potomac.
Jeremy, this was a great way to get the 6A North Region tournament going. Opening round, both teams have their horses on the mound, and they didn't disappoint. Chantilly ran senior Jared DeCesare out there. He's going to George Mason. West Potomac ran senior Jamie Serra out there. He's going to William and Mary, and the two of them just did not let up. Jared DeCesare ended up throwing 9 innings, which is the maximum the VHSL allows a pitcher to throw in a single day. Threw over 130 pitches, and he got the win. As you can see here, he struck out 12, only gave up 1 earned run. Ran into trouble in the 6th inning, had the bases loaded with 2 outs. West Potomac kid hits a ball right back up the middle, and DeCesare reaches out with his bare pitching hand, snags it with his thumb, his pointer finger, and his middle finger, and probably would have been a 2-run single there, and keeps it going into extra innings. And Coach Kevin Ford just kept running him out there, and he got the job done. Had to feel bad for Jamie Serra. He pitched his butt off. He went 7 1/3 innings, only gave up 2 hits. One of them left the infield and gave up 1 unearned run that never should have happened. Infield pop-up that got dropped, wild pitch. Otherwise, West Potomac probably gets out of this with a 1-0 victory. But Jamie Serra pitches 7 innings, and then head coach Jim Sullivan decides it's time for him to come out. Wanted to watch out. He's probably got a long career in front of him, but ran into trouble in the 8th inning with a reliever out there. The rule is in extra innings, once you make multiple mound visits, a pitching change needs to be made. And Jim, after the game, said it was a mistake. And with no other pitchers warming up, he had to go back to Jamie Serra, who was sitting in the dugout. So Jamie re-enters the game in the bottom of the 8th inning. Chantilly had the bases loaded with 2 outs. Jamie Serra comes back in and strikes the kid out and keeps the game alive. So Chantilly ends up winning 2-1 in 9 innings, but Jamie Serra has nothing to hang his head about. He, in his final high school game, just pitched fabulous, threw 106 pitches, and he was big at the plate too. 2 for 3, had a pair of doubles off to Cesare, and really gave West Potomac a chance to pull off the upset. They came in as the number 4 seed from Conference 7 going against Chantilly, the Conference 5 championship, and arguably should have pulled off the upset. As Coach Jim Sullivan, I tried to give him a chance to, say something nice about the way his guys fought, but he was honest. He's like, we should have beat them, but beat themselves with errors. But I mean, it was a fabulous game to watch.
Would have been one heck of a win as well. Chantilly, last 2 years going to the state championship game, losing there. Of course, they have moved on, knocked off McLean in the quarterfinals and edged Patriot in the semis 2-1. The most importantly there, folks, clinches a berth for them in the state playoffs. So the Chargers, maybe the 3rd time will be the charm for them this time, as they'll look for another state championship after getting just to the doorstep the last 2 years. Let's go to our second game of the weekly recap. That is an interesting one, John. Centerville and Madison, and of course, Dr. Seuss had thing 1 and thing 2. Well, right now it's Centerville with Carter 1 and Carter 2.
Absolutely, Jeremy. Carter 1, Carter 2. Well, as Coach Scott Finley tells it, he doesn't know which one's which. Probably doesn't want to bruise any egos, but if you ask them, Carter Bach is quick to tell you he's Carter 1. Yeah. He has seniority, but Carter Bach, he's really he was the star of that team. He's going to Wake Forest, big, tall, left-handed pitcher. But he didn't pitch in this game. He made his presence known with the bat. As you can see here, he's playing first base, went 3 for 4 with a solo homer and 4 RBIs. Meanwhile, Carter 2, which is junior left-hander Carter Egbers, was absolutely phenomenal on the mound. Threw a 2-hit shutout, struck out 10, and this wasn't just any 2-hit shutout. This was against Madison, the defending state champion, a team that had not been shut out since May 8th of 2015, a stretch of 33 games, but they could not touch Carter Egbers. He was just mowing them down. When he'd get in trouble, throw a couple of balls in a row, he'd just step off the mound, pace out towards second base, compose himself, and get up and go back to work. And Carter Bach, Carter 1 again, had an RBI single in the first inning, give him a 1-run cushion, and that was all he needed the rest of the game. And after a while, Centerville kept adding on. Bach had a solo homer. Christian Sanchez, sophomore left fielder, hitting at the top of the order, went 3 for 4 with a couple of doubles. But it was just a fabulous performance by a Centerville team that came out of Conference 5 as the runner-up, losing to Chantilly in that district championship, and showed that they could really compete with anyone in the state here, beating the defending state champion in the conference quarterfinals. Unfortunately for them, they fell short in the semifinals against a tough Battlefield team.
And of course, Carter Bach was on the mound for that contest, and really kind of a hard luck loser in that one. Only allowed 1 hit, a home run. The other runs scoring on a kind of a crazy little situation where had a double steal where the run scores after a walk and a pass ball. So no shame in that one for the Wildcats. A tough end of their season, but a good season, especially the way they finish it off with that win over Madison to vault themselves into contention for a berth in the state championship, just 1 spot away from that one. Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights of DMVSTREAM.COM's partnership with U.S. Lacrosse.
player to watch, number 1. We need number 3, blue. Penalty for another 20 or so. Ready? Ready, come back out to 2. Mark your heating things done. Our third player to watch for the blue team today, it's number 5, Tyler Dunn. Yeah, big run, yeah.
We continue on the Prep Zone. Now time for the weekly fast forward, and we will take a look at lacrosse. The VHSL boys and girls 6A tournaments should be some very good ones, John. And of course, when you talk about lacrosse, especially at that level, you're usually talking about the teams from Northern Virginia. They're usually pretty dominant.
Absolutely, Jeremy. And Robinson being the 2-time defending boys state champion, you'd have to say they'd be the favorite to win it again. However, last night Woodson really gave people something to think about in the region championship game. Woodson ended up taking a 13-6 lead in the second half, and you're thinking to yourself, well, we might have a contender to the throne here. Robinson ends up scoring 7 straight goals to tie it up, gets an overtime win on a goal by Johnny Daniel. They win their second region championship in the last 3 years. Kind of funny, they didn't get the conference or the region championship last year, even though they ended up beating Chantilly in the state championship game. But you have to look at Robinson, led by Johnny Daniel here, as one of the favorites to win the tournament. They get a bye in the first round as a product of that win last night. They are just loaded. They have both senior talent with Johnny Daniel and Austin Henry. Both of those guys going to play in VMI. They're both near 50 goals. Johnny Daniel has 21 assists. They also have young talent with Declan Connolly, the young freshman, 48 goals, 22 assists. All 3 of them were dangerous last night against Woodson. Austin Henry had a big night with 5 goals. So Robinson goes in as the top seed from the north and gets a bye. But with Woodson's performance at the bottom of the bracket there, they're the number 2 seed. They're going to get matched up with Madison in the first round. You have to look at them to be able to make a potential run to get a rematch with Robinson in the state championship game. Bobby Solomon, the sophomore, has 60 goals this year. He had a big night. Noah Gudendorf, the senior, Jackson Miller, the junior. The attack for Woodson is lethal, and if they can take care of business, I could easily see them matching up with Robinson in the state championship game ago. Don't sleep on South Lakes, but right now you'd have to think that Robinson and Woodson are probably favored to meet in the championship game again.
Well, that's interesting, John, because when you talk about Robinson, their boys team, the favorite, turns out their girls team might just be the favorite as well on their side when it comes to the girls 6A lacrosse tournament. Tell us about what you see in that tournament.
Absolutely right, Jeremy. If the Robinson girls team does not win the state tournament, it would be one of the greatest upsets in recent years in terms of public school lacrosse. They're undefeated. They haven't lost to a public school opponent since 2014. They've won more than 30 games in a row. They haven't lost since Georgetown Visitation got them last year. They're loaded. Ellie Klugel, the Conference 5 Player of the Year, had 6 goals and an assist in the region championship game against Woodson, which wasn't close. Taylor Caskey, the senior, 4 goals, 3 assists. Katie Chikoski, going to James Madison, junior, 3 goals, 3 assists. Caitlin Lucarelli, senior, 3 goals, 3 assists. They arguably already faced their toughest test in Langley in the region quarterfinals, just based on a misstep by Langley losing in their conference championship. Kind of got the seeding a little screwy, so what people thought it might have been a state championship matchup happened earlier than anticipated. But I mean, if you look at it from the outside perspective, no one really has that much of a chance against Robinson. But the one team that might is Centerville, and Elizabeth Murphy is a big reason for that. The junior is a star. She has 118 goals this year and 24 assists. Centerville is going to be playing one of the teams from the south in the opening round. If they can get past them, which they probably will, either Cosby or Colonial Forge, They're looking at Robinson in the semifinals, which would be a tall task, but it's looking like that might be Robinson's toughest test on the way to a second consecutive state championship. Woodson came into the region championship looking to give him a game, but they fell down 8-0 really quick. It was 11-1 after that, down 13-3 at the half. It would take a much improved effort if they were able to make it back to the state championship for them to give Robinson a run for their money. But right now it looks like if you're a betting person, you want to put your money on the Rams.
Well, of course, and the interesting thing there, you talk about Centerville, same conference. Sometimes it works in your favor, the familiarity, not scared. Sometimes, though, you know just how good a team is. And I guess, John, the other thing we can say, the Maryland women, they lost an undefeated season in the national championship game. Hopefully the same fate doesn't befall the Rams, but we will have to go ahead and see exactly how things pan out. Well, earlier the guys from Rebel Run sat down with Mount Vernon wideout Josh McGrigg, who recently committed to play football at Villanova.
Thank you and welcome to the Prep Zone. I'm Rob Giampapa, joined as always by my partner John Moore. We're with Rebel Run Sports. We're joined today by the Mount Vernon legend, Josh McGrigg over here. How you doing?
Good, good, good.
Excellent. Well, let's talk about it. This year, football season, you played running back, you played quarterback.
Yes, sir.
You played receiver.
Yes, sir.
Played kick returner, punt returner. I even saw you in the game play quarterback.
Yes, sir.
What's your favorite position?
Favorite position, I would have to say, it's kind of weird, but I actually kind of say quarterback. Because with him putting me back there, it actually let me do a little bit more than being that receiver, because you're already starting off at the line, you know what I'm saying? So it limits you to, you got to get off the line and run a route or something like that. But actually putting me in the backfield and letting me make some kind of decisions like that made me really a better player and a smarter player. So about what I do, so it was great.
Josh, talk about your senior season. Kind of take us from the beginning
Okay.
of the season, where your expectations were there, and then how the season kind of played out.
Okay. Well, definitely I came in during 2 days with my hair right, making sure everybody had their hair right, you know what I'm saying, coming in. I wanted to make sure that everybody was ready to put their all in the season, because we're coming off an 0-10 season, so we have to come in knowing everybody's going to want to beat Mount Vernon, everybody's going to do that.
Right.
But we have to be willing to put the work in at the beginning of the season to do what we want during the season, you know. So I just came in basically telling them, hey, the work starts here during the summer when we're getting the work in, so we can do what we want to do during the season. And so going into the season, it was good. You know, we started off winning the game. Actually, the first opener we won for that coach, so that was a big goal for us. And you know, during the season, we had people to come in off the team, come in and off. So I mean, the main thing was just helping everybody keep their mind, keep focused, keep working hard, no matter the circumstances, no matter what you go through on Friday night, win, lose, you still got to get back up on Saturday and make sure you putting that same work ethic in as if you won a game. So that's what I just told him. And at the end of the season, I mean, it was really just a coast out, you know, making sure I was being a smart player, not getting injured, nothing like that, being smart about what I do. So, and that's really it.
Well, obviously you're a leader. You brought
sir.
that leadership in there at the beginning of the season. Where does that leadership come from?
The leadership basically come from, you know, it basically comes a lot from my dad, you know, seeing him in the Army as a hiring person in the Army, seeing him how he leads his soldiers and stuff like that. You know, I go to him a lot about stuff that I don't know about as being a leader, so I can go to him and say, hey, Dad, you know, how do I handle this situation on the football team? How do I do this? How can I handle this the best way I can? You know what I'm saying? By not really, you know what I'm saying, hurting nobody, you know what I'm saying, too bad to a point where they can't come back up. So it really, a lot comes from my dad, you know. So,
What kind of run, as a running back, what kind of run do you enjoy more? Is it the 20 yards where you broke 4 tackles going up the middle, or is it 60 yards where you just turned the corner and outran everybody?
I would say a lot of the times I was surprised on those turning the corners and just getting it, because that's really what I practiced all summer, is getting the ball and turning upfield. And once I got to running back, it actually translated over. So once I got the ball, all I knew was, hey, one cut and just get out, you know. So hey, that was the best runs for me because I was actually surprising myself. Like, dang, dude, it's paying off now, and let's get to work.
I should have worked on that, guys.
No. What do you mean you were surprised? You run a 4.35. How are you surprised when you hit the corner and pass people?
Really, it's because, you know, once you work so hard at something, and you finally see it pays off, it's like, wow, you know, I'm really getting better. You know, it's good. It's one thing to work hard, but it's another thing to work hard and see results, you know. Right. So a lot of people can say, hey, I'm working hard, but if it's not showing on the field, if it's not paying off, then are you really working hard, you know? So that's really what I just asked myself. Hey, I know you're working hard, but is it paying off? Are you really applying it like you should be? So that's really how it'd be surprising. I'd be like, hey, it's paying off. Let's do some more, baby.
All right.
Are you going to Villanova? They just
Yes, sir.
won a national championship in men's basketball.
Yes, sir.
There's going to be a lot of buzz around the sports programs in
Yes, sir.
general. So a lot of excitement around the football. What do you bring to Villanova? What are they excited about?
The main thing about me bringing to Villanova is my speed, you know, my leadership, of course, you know, because Villanova has a high education reputation. So me going in there is basically saying that, hey, you have the grades, you know what I'm saying, so you have a certain standard that you have to live up to, leadership-wise, education-wise, and on the field-wise. So basically me going in there is bringing to them another leader of the team that they can count on in the future and even now, because I want to go in there and be, hey, count on me to make the team better, you know, so that's how I'm going in.
Now, during the year, you and I talked, and you know, through the recruiting process. What was that recruiting process like for you?
Well, the recruiting process was actually kind of on and off at times. You know, it would be times where we would have a couple coaches come in a week, and there would be other times where I haven't heard from coaches in a minute. So basically, I worked hard to get a high ACT score, you know, around December-wise, where any coach could come in and I could already be qualified and they could say, hey, we want to do this with you, we want to do that with you. So it was basically just working hard to get my ACT score right, and then, hey, it was going to all shoot up from there.
And why Villanova?
Well, why Villanova is because the education there, you know, a lot of FBS schools, they can offer me this and offer me that, but hey, what education are you offering me? I want to major in business, so hey, why not go to the #1 business school in the nation, you know? So that's how I looked at it. It really wasn't, at one point, it was, I had all these offers, now let's look at the education-wise. So for me, it was like, hey, they the #1 business school, so why not if I want to major in business? So why not go to the #1 business school in the nation? So that was the main thing for me.
Well, you just answered my next.
If you'd like to see the rest of that interview, head on over to DMVSTREAM.com. The guys from Rebel Run also sat down with champ point guard Dominic Fergala. Let's take a look.
Welcome to another very special edition of the Prep Zone on DMV Stream. I'm John Moore, joined as always with Rob Giampapa. We're of Rebel Run Sports. Today we have a very special guest, Dom Fergala, junior guard, Champ High School. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, second team all region, first team all conference, second team all Loudoun County. That's great individual accomplishments this year. Kind of take us through the year from a team standpoint, you know, where you were coming into and how it turned out.
Like, I came in, like, kind of, like, say, like, the tryouts, like, they already had tryouts. So, like, I had to, like start off, like, with, like, 2 practice, like, as my tryouts. And, like, the team, like, they were, like, welcoming. And, like, there was a lot of people from, like, football. Like, when they came, they were welcoming, too. Like, we gelled quickly. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, going back, you were at O'Connell. What was that transition like from O'Connell to Champ?
O'Connell was more, like, serious. It was a big change. Like, you had to put, like, a lot more, like, dedication to, like, the private school life compared to public school. And I'm not gonna lie, it was, like, easier competition compared to, like, WCSC. And, like, I just had to, like, make sure I didn't, like, stoop down to, like, their level and, like raise, like, my teammates' level up too. So,
Any place you play other than the WCAC is going to be worse, right?
You had some big games this year. You scored 41 points in a game. What was kind of your individual highlight of the season? Was there a game that you had more fun than the other, or there's a game you were just on?
probably semifinals for region, like, cause like it was really close, and like the team we played, like we had like Twitter beef kind of.
Oh really?
Yeah. And
I was at that game, I think. Yeah.
And like it was just like a really like intense game, and like a lot of people make big plays and to move on.
You had a big offensive rebound at the end of that game, didn't you, off a foul shot?
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, going to that, what do you think your best attribute is on the basketball court?
Being a good teammate. I try to be like a good teammate. Like when we're down, I try to like bring everybody up. Yeah.
How do you find balance? I watch you a lot this year, and we've seen a lot of your highlight tapes that are out there, and you're a very prolific scorer. When you're playing point guard in the game, you know, how do you, sometimes I watch the games this year and I was like, well, Dom just starts shooting all the time. But you are, you know, very LeBron-esque in that way where you can score, but you like to pass the ball around to get your teammates involved. So kind of talk about, you know, how that works for you.
Well, like I like sharing the ball too, as much as I like shooting. Like if you share the ball with your teammates, they'll do like other things like for you, and like sharing the ball like makes other people share the ball with other people, and like makes the team like gel.
Now, what do you want to work on in the off season to get better going into your senior year?
I'm getting stronger, and defense, of course. Yeah.
Okay. And what about the competition? Who are you looking forward to playing again next year?
Loudon Valley.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Who are your basketball influences? Who are the guys you watch on TV now that kind of inspire you?
Curry.
Curry?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. Great.
So you think Golden State's going to take it?
Yeah.
And how many?
It's going to go to either game 6 or 7.
Well, next year, what are your goals as a team going into next year? Obviously, you know, Loudon Valley's coming back. They got a stacked team coming back. What are your goals for champ next year?
It's like one step at a time. I want to win our conference first, and then win regions, and then try to go farther than last year into states. Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, Dom, thanks for joining us this week on the Prep Zone. I'm John Moore, Rob Giampapa, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Prep Zone. I'm Jeremy Huber. Catch us again next week.